So, hello everybody, my name is Fricke from Condat AG, and I would like to present something about the InVID project. But initially, I would say one slide about my company. So, we are from Condat AG, which is closely located to here. Our main business line is television media, and we have as main customers the ZDF, RBB, WDR, MDR, and other broadcasters. And so what we do for them is program planning, newsroom systems, content management. And this is probably the reason why I'm here. And what we also have is research projects. And one of them, and this is quite interesting for this day here, is the InVID project. It's concerned with the verification of social media content. It's an European Union funded project from age 2020. And we have a lot of partners. We have the Deutsche Welle, AFP from Paris, and we have IPTC, also here in the room. And as advisory board, we have also Michael Steidl. He is also here in the room. And in this project, we have the task to verify user-generated content. And this has become a very important issue for the media industry because when you have very sudden events like accidents, usually you don't have videos or pictures from it, but now there you have, because most of in these situations you have users which have a smartphone. They can take shots, videos, and they can upload it because you have the bandwidth, and journalists can retrieve it from the classical platforms like Twitter, YouTube, or any other ones. And the challenge here is that when they have retrieved something, they have to verify it. Otherwise, they can't reuse it. And this is a core of this project, the verification of this user-generated content. So this process covers to check the source, whether the source is okay, whether this author who has indicated to be the author is really the author. To verify it, to look inside, to make the forensics, whether somebody has changed this file, has faked issues, vanishing peoples, and all this stuff. They have to check whether whether this could be a near duplicate. For example, people grab other older content videos, take parts out of it, and upload it again and claim this is an original video. Then we have to check the location and time, whether the indicated location and time is really the time the author had said. And we have to check the rights costs. So I would not go too deep into this process today because our issue here is the metadata. And we use a lot of standards and metadata in this project, but I will not go through all of them. I will only look at these ones which are interesting for the hub and which are critical and where we have important issues. So they are relevant because what we are doing is that we take from the videos from YouTube, for example, we take the author, we take the time and the date, and then we put it again in retrieval processes to search for other content from the author, for example, or we compare videos with other videos. And so we are very happy for this initiative, the Metadata Hub, because we will really good employ and use it. The main questions we have to answer here is that if metadata are defined, and this is not all, if they are defined, if they are they provided? Are they in these fields in YouTube inside filled? Or what is the semantics? And the last question is probably one of the most important questions for us. I will come later back to this because the semantics of the fields filled in this files is quite different. So, yeah. So let's start from the project, from the process. How does it begin? So usually we work in the newsroom system, the journalists, and they have a certain topic. So we have the NewsML and the topics defined, and the journalist says, okay, for this topic I want to have user-generated content. What they do is they search through all the networks, through the Facebook and Twitters, and if they find something, they say, okay, I have one video here, this could be interesting for me. I want to go deeper inside and want to verify it. And here in this situation, we have already the point that we have an author, we have a title, and have the time and location, and we want to verify now whether this data are okay. And the starting point is always to get the metadata from the video file. In this case, as an example, the YouTube metadata. So usually we have field, time, location, title, author. We have a lot of standards which were used here, but they are not so really important because usually the author and title, they are filled. And it does not matter in which field, which length of the field or which standard it was. The main point is that I have to look whether this author is really the indicated author. And so here's a verification process goes as follows, that I start to look in the accounts for the author, and sometimes I have the problem that the author is anonymous. For example, if we have Syria, and in our project we have a lot of Arabic materials and from the crisis areas, and you have here Freedom House, and Freedom House is an anonymous account, it's quite sure, because people who upload in Aleppo software and videos, they cannot be openly present their name because they are too much endangered. And here you can only ask Amnesty, for example, whether they know something about this account, whether I can trust this account. Okay, but the usual situation is that you have an author, and then you can make researches in engines, with search engines in the networks, whether they have uploaded other content, and so that you can see, okay, if somebody has uploaded a lot of trusted content, you can also trust this source here in this situation. And I want to contact the source by mail or phone. This is usually my goal, my aim. And I can only do this if I am very sure that I have the original author. And you could already see here that the real challenge for us is to identify the authenticity of this author. And the main problems are the different spellings here. So if you have the Arabic language, and this guy is active in England and France, if you translate an Arabic name or place into French or English, it looks different. And so, for example, companies, we searched for companies in Germany and England, and the spelling was different, and we were never sure whether this is really the same. So there are some tools available to operate with this, but so in addition to your Media Hub, your metadata hub, what we would like to have is tools to identify the identity of names and places and authors.
So how many languages?
How many? Yes, the most important ones would be very nice, let's say the 7 or 8 important ones.
So we can do this for 100.
Oh, thank you. Okay, let's come to the verification of the location. This is a little bit easier because very often the authors have indicated a place or location. And there we can look at the pictures. We can look at street names, license plates, or speech, and can here, for example, we can read the letters, and then we can have already indications that this is the indicated place. But the best tools we here have is quite sure. It's the Google or Bing Maps and Street Maps. And I have made this test here. It was easy to find this location here because it's a very significant building. And you had the pictures here from the Bing Maps. And I'm very sure that this buildings and this place is the same. So here I was very sure that it matches. But it's not always like this because sometimes you have pictures from the desert and from roads. And this is very difficult to identify, but it's possible. And here again, one of the biggest challenges is that often the author indicates only a region or some abstract places, and tools which help to map regions, cities, places to coordinates, to geolocations could help to identify the place. So again, we have indications as metadata, but the real problem is a kind of detective work to find out whether it's true what's indicated and what's the reality, and the mapping to it. So now I come to the verification of time, which is often easier because, as you know, the EXIF format is very often filled with the time. If you take a photo or camera, the time is filled out, or the other data are empty, but the time is filled. But as we know, if we work with a tool, with this picture or video, they change the time. So you have to check the time. What you can do is Wolfram Alpha. This is very nice because it indicates you the weather at any place in the world for all the times and the last 30 years. And I checked the weather, 26 degrees at this date, and this could be true. This was helpful. Again, here we have the situation that we have also indications of the time in the text and in the description of the video, and we have to check it. This is what human beings do. As journalists, they look at all the context and the metadata, and they check whether everything is consistent. And to have support by tools could be helpful. Yeah? For example, to map beginning of March or something, to match to certain dates that I can make automatic searches could be helpful. So if I have all this data, date and time, I could, for example, look what other video-generated content is here in this place available at this time. And this could help me to verify whether the picture, which is indicated and uploaded, also fits in this context. So let's have a look at the forensics. So what is wrong in this picture? Who can see this? Yes, this is a very typical falsification. We have it very often. If you have a demonstration and there are not enough people, you take the ones from the left and copy them to the right. But this is, we have in our project one company from Paris, ExoMachina, and they are expert in finding out with statistical methods if something is wrong. And in this example, the statistics shows this, that here it's an indication that something is suspicious. So they can never say something is wrong, but they can say the statistic says it's very unreliable, or it's very seldom that things and here are exactly the same. And if the journalist now looks, they can see, okay, these ones were copied from here to here. If you look at the picture, you can see it from the far. It's different. Okay, but I won't go too deep into this. So for the forensics and for the near duplicate searches, we have the challenge that people usually take fragments out from the videos, or from videos they take pictures. And so what we need is the media fragments. Michael has already indicated. So we are also a member of the W3C conduct, and the media fragments we have defined. We have given contributions. So this is a quite good standard, the definition of fragments of videos and pictures. And this we can handle because it's a unique standard. We had in the former time, YouTube had their own fragments, but now they also use the W3C media fragments. And looking deeper into the forensics, this would mean that we have to look into this the compression and coding standards, because if you want to find a near duplicate, you have to look inside, because if you have a video and you copy it into another format, it's very difficult to find out whether it's the same and whether it's a duplicate. I'm not an expert, I cannot help you, but we have partners for this. Okay, so finally, rights costs. I think we have discussed this issue again and again. So we also know problem is sources are unknown, the rights are undefined, or manually, or very often rights are individually defined in written rights, which we cannot automatically convert to formulas. And our answer in the project is that we have the rights ML and we have a rights ontology, which would be a mean to define these rights and to handle them. But at present, rights are not filled out. So, but if we have the standard and people start to fill it out, then, so Getty Images, for example, or others, they begin to provide more and more materials filled out with rights, and this is very good, because then we automatically can grab it, and the journalist can see, okay, it's too expensive, or this is okay for me or for my distribution area. So this is a starting point for me to get a progress here. Okay, and as a last slide, the data quality is also a big challenge. If you look in all these materials you find in the web, in the videos, and in the news messages, you have a lot of near duplicates, a lot of small changes. You find the same thing again and again, which has small changes, with the small changes in the title, in the spellings, in the places, and it's very difficult to handle all this, and to find and have better tools to operate with this would also be very helpful. Okay, so far my demonstration.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Rolf.